Hey, it's me. Welcome to the Project Feline show with your host, me, Project Feline. And today we're going to be working on Project Feline. It's going to be fire. I want to start off the stream by giving a huge thank you to my boy Mindcube here, who wasn't first to the chat this time. Very disappointed, but he made up for it by gifting a sub generously to Mr. HK Titan. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Hey Titan, you're a sub now. That's right. So everyone say thanks to Mindcube. Thanks Mindcube. So Mr. Titan here, you can now on your Discord, I don't know if you're a Discord user, but who isn't nowadays, right? If you are a Discord user, I believe you can go to your account settings and find a little back door to Ray's bedroom. And then if you join the server, you will come through that door right now and you will be in Ray's bedroom, because the server is actually a portal to my actual room. That's a little known secret that I wasn't supposed to say publicly, but I couldn't help myself. So today I've been a bit busy this week. I'll catch you guys up to speed in just what I've been doing, and then I'll talk about what I'll be doing on stream. How do I get me desktop? What button? I think it's this one. Guys, see me desktop? Epic. So I've been editing all week, and it's coming along. The devlog is almost finished. I'm just doing the Patreon credits at the moment, and there's a bit of a problem where there are so many of you that I'm gonna have to change this template because the text scrolls too fast to fit all the names. So I'm trying to come up with something where it's the names are all visible, but it's not scrolling too fast. So I'm trying to play around with font sizes and all that stuff. So I was working on that this evening. And then, there's the rest of the video. It's coming to about 14 and a half minutes runtime. And this is a trend I'm noticing where my videos seem to be getting longer and longer. So they're taking more and more time to edit, but it's coming along. If you're an early access patron, then you will be able to see this video 24 hours early when it is finished. So if you want the latest scoop, then go check my Patreon out, link down below, if you want to see when 24 hours before I release this. But I still got to do some work on it. It's not quite there yet. I haven't edited the opening yet. I usually do that at the end, so I got to find some B-roll footage to put for the opening. But anyway, so that's what I've been doing this week. But last time on stream, because I haven't had much time to work on the game as I've been working on that video, but we're going to continue off from last stream building our persistent mission system. And I'm just going to quickly double check to see. I was going to push some stuff to source control real quick before I proceed with that, so give me a moment. But we're essentially making a system where you can engage in different objectives and missions with different parameters without having, in the same persistent scene without loading screens. That's the current goal. And it's turning out to be a little more complicated than I thought, but I'm sure we'll get through it. I just want to quickly stage a light bake I made because I was changing some lighting around in one of the maps, and I want to make sure I save that and push it before I continue my work. So just give me 1 second while I push all that on my other screen. What do I want to push? I'll push those two. And I will push the Studio Light preset. Actually, I might have a scene that I don't need anymore, actually. Let's see if I need to delete it. I think it was Daytime Lighting 2. Okay, no, that is being used for something. It was Daytime Lighting 3. I want to know what that is. I'm not sure if this is being used for anything, but I might keep it here in case, because I'm sure I'll remember a reason for that later. In the meantime, get my example map back, and I'll push those changes. Update. Let me type a commit message. Update block 10 lighting commit. So I'm gonna, once that pushes, I'll explain in more detail what's happening here. Just give me a moment. I've been kind of rushing around all day. I think that's pushing. I've got to put, it's committed, I just got to push it to the server. Source control, very important, guys. Make sure you do your source control, do your pulls and pushes and commits and merges and branches and all of that. It'll save headache. I kind of take the extra precaution of doing all that and also having an additional backup hard drive as well, just in case. So I think that's pushing now. How are you guys doing? I'll just like chuck you guys out while I wait for that to push, because I don't want to do anything if it fails. Oh, hi Spyrus. Thanks for addressing me by my full name. What time it is in Australia? It is 11:17 p.m. But I do this for the Americans, you see, because I know the Americans it's like in the morning or something. Why isn't there a new devlog every 30 seconds? Oh, look, man. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get the next one out in the next 20 seconds as I've been explaining this. But, you know, it's like, I'm getting a bit too old, man. Like, I'm not as fast, I'm not as efficient and nimble as I used to be in my youth. I'm getting slow. I'm basically, you know, I'm reaching into my 40s now. Life responsibilities piling on, feeding the kids, just trying to facilitate their growth, you know. I don't always have time to be pumping out videos every minute, sadly. But I do try my best, but it's hard to compete in the market, you know? Because I'm up against a bunch of 16-year-olds that are just making videos every millisecond now, because they have the brain implants, and they just record everything and upload it. So that's something I wish I could do, but I don't know, my brain isn't, I'm too old. I won't adapt well to implants. My brain will reject them, and I will fade into obscurity. So that's why I'm very sorry about not every 30 seconds having a video. Oh yeah, I totally forgot there was a Discord command. Oh, there we go. Oh, sorry, just give me a minute, guys. It's pushing, and I don't want to touch the project files while that pushes. So I'm gonna, I'll put my face cam up. I just don't want to touch it while it's pushing, because if the push fails, it's just, you don't want to touch stuff while it's doing that, you know what I'm saying? So I'll read the chat for a bit more, then we'll dive into the work. I should have done this before stream, but I've just been kind of busy, so yeah. Oh, you gotta go? Oh, Titan, we're just getting started. Well, good. Have fun, man. Watch the VOD afterwards. Chat to me on Discord when you come back. Still learning. Someone's learning Unreal. What? Who? We're all just learning Unreal. I mean, hell, I'm still learning Unreal. I don't know what half this stuff does. Started learning Z. Oh, dude, no, I tried ZBrush before, man. That ain't easy. I don't know what it's like now, but I tried it like 6 years ago, and I don't know if they've changed it since. I hope they have, but my god, it was the key bindings. I could not understand how to like use the mouse and keyboard. It's crazy. Sorry, guys. It's still pushing. I really should have done this while the waiting screen was up, but I'm just rushing around. I hope there's no errors. It's probably just my internet's real slow. Oh, you know what? It's because I'm streaming, it's gonna take longer. God, big brain moment there, Ray. Wow, I'm so smart. Oh, dude, the Rave. Thanks so much for subscribe. 13 months, dude. I didn't even know I've been streaming for 13 months. That's crazy. Well, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. People who just know code stuff without looking it up scare me. Yeah, I still have yet to encounter one of those in the wild. People who make Unity tutorials. Well, it's funny. I often find that knowing how to code isn't enough, would you believe? I'll talk about that real quick while this is taking forever. I don't know why it's taking so long, by the way. It's my goddamn Australian internet. This is what we get. After we had our NBN thing roll out, my internet got, I think it was 400% slower as a result. So that's great. But with programming, what you should be afraid of, what should scare you, is people who don't know any of that and still ship products. That's the people you should be scared of, because that means that with whatever little skill they have managed their time and resources so efficiently and made money. That's, to me, that's final boss. That's the real talent. Anyone can learn programming, but there's a reason that not everyone on the planet has shipped a game, because it's actually really hard, even if you do know how to program. But I think that's where that's what the magic really is. And I guess now that I've explained it, it's not magic anymore, but we can pretend it's still magic. You know what? I'm just gonna start working. I know it's still pushing, but I'm getting impatient now. I want to start work. All right, well, I guess I could just... One second. Is that my desktop? Cool. So I'll explain, while that's pushing, I'll explain what's happening at the moment, the status quo in the actual game. So I'll load into a level. We'll load into block 10, because this is this is like what the new devlog's about, by the way. Just give it a second to load. I don't have any loading screens yet. Give it a moment. It's probably going to take a bit longer since it's pushing. There we go. So this is the map that has been in the builds for the last few months. And this was included with the new momentum system and all that. The thing is, though, I hadn't really talked about this map yet. I know we streamed me building it and all, but the people who just watch my YouTube have no idea this map exists. So I've made a video talking about this map. And one thing I did in this map was, you'll notice that not only do I have like meshes now and all of that stuff, but I also have game logic running, like game mode stuff. You can see a stopwatch or a countdown timer at the top. There's a parts counter, and the objective of this map, which is like, that's the big emphasis here, is that there is an objective in this map. And that objective is to collect 45 of these glowing yellow circles in under 5 minutes. If we fall off a cliff or take fatal damage, like if I touch this laser... Oh wait, is that gonna work? Yeah, so if I hit something, mission failed. That's a mission failed. You cannot take damage, you can't die. And you have to restart the mission again. If we fail to collect all the parts in time, that's a mission fail. The only success is if we collect all the parts and get back to the NPC over here in under the time limit. And if we do that, it's mission accomplished. But here's the problem though. So the way I've coded all of that stuff is by using what Unreal Engine calls game mode assets. And game mode assets are actually pretty neat if you're using them right. Because if you guys recall, you might be able to infer from the engine's name, Unreal Engine was developed for Unreal Tournament, which is a multiplayer game. And with that, the engine comes with a lot of features designed to make first-person multiplayer shooters. So, for example, it has these things called game modes, and if I open up one of these, like, let's see, I'll open up one of the more interesting ones. Let's go the timed collectathon. So this is the code for that map that I loaded up earlier. This is how the actual rules of the game work. And you could do this in like C++ or Blueprints, but I do it in Blueprints because I'm not a programmer, so I just do it with the graphs. But the way these essentially work is, it's a bit different to something like Unity, because this is running persistently in the level at all times. When you run a level, there is a game mode running, there is a character spawned, and a few other, there's a HUD base class that is spawned in, and that's all done like automatically. And essentially what I do is, to get the game to have those rules, I've written my own game mode asset that I load in when I load that map, and that gives it all this stuff like the countdown timer, the win and lose conditions. Like if we respawn, for example, it'll like reset the stopwatch. If we die, it'll stop the game, it'll pause the stopwatch. If we collect enough parts, it'll activate the mission complete state and all of that stuff. And I've built this all with the game mode system. But here's the problem. Game modes can't be changed while a level is loaded. So if you want to change the rules of whatever instance you're in, you have to reload the whole instance. So that means reloading all of the geometry, reloading all of the audio, reloading the collisions, reloading the scripts, just so that you can load in a different game mode. And with the way I want to build this game, with the direction it's going in, I want to be able to have a persistent mission system whereupon you can freely roam around and pick up these different rules and missions, but not having it so that it doesn't reload the entire level. So if we go to like one part of a map and talk to an NPC and activate a mission, instead of having it go to a loading screen and reloading the same geometry again with different rules, it just changes the rules on the fly without having to load it in. And maybe we do a transition or something, but it should look like you go up to an NPC, you talk to them, and then all of a sudden you might have like a transition animation on the screen, and then the mission content will just be there without you having to wait for it. Because Unreal can do that. We're at the stage now where you can load in persistent stuff on the fly. It just can't do it with game modes because of the way that the system's built. It's just a limitation of the feature. Because game modes are really supposed to be for like multiplayer matches where you've got like a team deathmatch mode or a capture the flag mode, and all of the logic would be in that. But because I'm not doing my game that way, I'm kind of not really using this game mode system as it should be used. Or it's the way that the thing I want to do can't be done with game modes. So what we did last time is we made a very basic, like the bare minimum state, like a state machine kind of, to determine whether a quest is active or something like that. So I'm going to quickly open that up again. I'm just trying to remember where I put it. I think it was in components. Yeah, mission component. So I was writing this mission component, and this essentially has a bunch of dispatches that I've bound. So we have a few events that can happen, because in my head, to make a mission, well, I'll get out the old trusty, because I know this looks a bit confusing. We'll get out the old trusty notepad. Thankfully, the game is finished pushing, so that's good. So I can go ahead and start working. Just give me a moment. I'm going to find my chat window again. There we go. Tony Hawk's Pro, does it? Is that the new Pro Skater or the old one? Because I have Pro Skater 3 and that does not have persistent levels. But I don't know, I haven't played, the only one I've played is Pro Skater 3, which was like, when did that come out? Like almost, like 19 years ago. So yeah, I'm sure things have changed since then. All right, so let's get Notepad out because we have mission system. And we need a few things. We need it so that the mission can start. We need it so that the mission can end. And then the mission itself has parameters or rules. And that rule might be a time limit, might be, what else could be a parameter? Like, collect X amount of items, or travel to objective, and so on. So that's kind of the basics. Now there's a few more I want to do as well. I want to have some sequencing support. I don't know if I spelt that right. Now that's a bit more complicated on sequencing. And what I mean by sequencing is having things in the mission like being able to trigger events, or trigger a door opening, or trigger, I want to say triggering a cutscene, but I don't want people to expect that I'm going to put cutscenes in, because that's not really what my plan is. But that's kind of along the lines of what the system would let you do, just in an abstract sense. So if this wasn't for my game, like let's say it's just an abstract system, you'd use that kind of stuff to like trigger cutscenes and stuff. But I'm not necessarily planning on cutscenes for my game necessarily, but it's in that vein. So I'd be doing more simple sequencing, like a door opening, or a certain like collisions blocking you into a certain area, or enemies spawning, or things like that are tailored to the specific mission that don't necessarily, like the specific sequences won't duplicate. Like let's say we have mission A, and in mission A it's just a time trial, but in mission B we need it so that when you reach a certain point, enemies will spawn when you reach like the plaza or something. Now, we don't need that exact sequencing in Mission A, because Mission A may not have any combat. But we need the capability in the system to allow for that kind of sequencing, so that when we create a new mission entity in this framework, we can then easily add in those kinds of level sequencing. So things like being able to spawn an enemy should be really easy to implement. That's the goal. But that's kind of a more complicated thing we might get to near the end of everything else. The thing I'm focusing on for now is getting the current missions I have working with this new system. So at the moment, what we've been able to do is very roughly program in these things. So things like a start and end state. We haven't managed to do parameters yet, though, and that might be what we do today. But if we look at the work we did last week, I'll try and kind of show how it went. So we have a few things at the moment where we have a few event dispatches that so this is what it looks like in the actual code and not in Notepad. So we have a thing here where it's like, you know, so for those who don't know what an event dispatcher is, what these will essentially let me do is that I can basically use these dispatches to trigger other events in other blueprints. So for example, I may want things to happen when the mission starts. So if I bind things to on mission start, I can have it so that the mission activates and then it can cascade and trigger a bunch of other things bound to this event. And then we've got them for every event we would need. So we have a mission start, events that happen on mission end, events that happen when the mission is finished, like you've successfully completed the mission, and stuff that happens when you fail the mission. And you might be wondering, why is there 3 different things for the end state? Because you might say, well, Ray, mission end or mission fail, aren't those the same thing? Not necessarily. For me, a mission can end in one of 2 ways. You can either, well, actually 3 ways. You can exit the mission early, you can fail the mission, or you can successfully complete the mission. The thing is, though, is that when you complete and fail, there are different things that happen. For example, if you complete a mission, you might get a result screen, but if you fail a mission, you won't. But there are things that these have in common. For example, let's say the mission complete has a result screen, but the mission fail has a game over screen. So it's a different thing, but both of them may need to do things like stop the player from moving and lock the input so that the game is paused and it shows that screen. And instead of having to type in stop player movement twice, we just bind that to the one event so that no matter how the mission ends, it will absolutely do this, no matter the case. It'll absolutely lock the player movement. It'll absolutely spawn a menu. What that menu actually is going to depend on the outcome. So we have some shared events. So when I think I can demonstrate it pretty simply here, where you know, when mission complete is called, it will call on mission end first, and then do its specialized stuff. And same with on mission fail. Then we've also got a few extra events I added in just in case, so that when the game is paused, do we want to trigger a set of events for the mission? Like, do we want to pause the music? Do we want to fade the music out? Or do we want the HUD to vanish or whatever? Like, we can do stuff like that as well. We've also got a few extra periphery events here, like being able to an event here which returns all of the playable characters, which in this case it'll just be Gabby, so it gets a reference to the player character and combines stuff to it. And yeah, I think this one will just turn your input on and off depending on the Boolean pass-through. So that's what we were able to build last time, more or less. And we've got a few extra things here too, I think. But that's the gist of it. And it doesn't look like much when you play it yet, but these systems will come in handy. And this is like the groundwork that's going to be very important later. Because at the moment, it doesn't look like much. But if I turn on, I think it's like show volumes. I have to type in that command. And I'll turn off anti-aliasing, because this is really hard to see. Anti-aliasing, low. Oh, well, let me load that back in. Show volumes. So you can, it's a bit hard to make out, because I know my stream quality is garbage, but There is an invisible box right in front of Gabby, and I've tried to type in show volume so that you can see it a bit clearer, but it is really hard to see, I'll admit. Oh, well, there's the wireframe. I'm sure you can see that. There's like this big orange box right here. And it looks invisible in the game world, but if we turn on wireframe, you'll see it. And if we touch it, I don't know if you saw that, but in the top corner, there was a print string that said mission start. That means that the mission state is active right now. But if I go and touch this other box over here and run through it, it'll say mission to end and mission complete. And you'll notice that I actually can't move now because I purposely told it that when mission ends, stop player movement, just to test if it worked. And it does. So if I touch one invisible box, the mission will start. If I touch the other, the mission will end. The one thing I don't think I tested for, though, is whether the mission will end if I don't touch the mission start box. So I want to test that real quick. Because there are also another few bugs I've noticed that I might fix up. So if I run through this, okay, that's a problem. You'll notice that it says mission complete when I run through this box, but it doesn't stop my movement. So it doesn't trigger the mission end event, but it triggers the mission complete event, which it shouldn't do because the mission hasn't started. But if I then touch this box to start the mission and then touch this box, it'll then stop me from moving. So that's a bug. It shouldn't do anything if I haven't touched the mission start first. So we'll have to look at that real quick. So let me look. Mission end. So yeah, so here's the thing. You know what? I think I found the issue. Yeah, I think this boolean needs to be here as well. That's why. Because it's triggering mission complete. And then mission complete will print that string. There's also a case where it's duplicating, which is also not good. Like it's printing that twice for some reason, so I want to look into that too. But this boolean may fix it. We'll have a look. Mission fail, we'll also put the, because we don't want to be able to fail a mission if we don't have one active. So we'll also do that. So I just drag in, rearrange these nodes a wee bit. So if mission is active, then it'll allow us to do the stuff. And I've just got these print strings here to test the system. So if I compile that now and run show volumes and go wireframe. Now if I touch the second box, nothing should happen. Yes, cool. Okay, so nothing's happening when I touch this box. But if I touch this box first and then this box, okay, the mission complete doesn't duplicate anymore either, so we've just fixed 2 bugs there. Great. So now the states are working, and it doesn't seem like much yet, but at least the game knows when we are in a mission and when we're not in a mission. Now, what to do next, now that I've got that working to a good level? Well, we're gonna need to add mission like parameters. That's the next part. So we can like tick these off, I guess. I don't know how to do like a strike through on these, but we'll can I format that? Format font. We'll make it I don't think I can do strike through. This is Word, this is Notepad after all. So we'll just backspace those out. So that's those 2 done. Or maybe we'll put them in the complete pile. Or, even better, I'll do something a bit nicer. We'll put a little X. That's what we'll do. So this will be a little checklist. So we've done mission start and mission end states. Now we just need the actual rules. Now that's going to be complicated because I'll show you how the rules work right now, because just to give, and if I explain it out loud, it might help me think better as well. So if I go to my old system with the game mode stuff, like let's open up we'll open up the base one. So this asset is all game modes that I've written, like custom game modes that I've written, are children of this. And this is how this actually has all of the logic from this one, but in the game mode format. So I think we kind of ported most of this over to the new system, everything that's in here. So it has things like, you know, set game mode active, all that stuff. That's all being done in this parent. But if we open up the child of that game mode, like let's open up that timed collectathon one again, you'll see that there's more. And you'll notice as well, I know it's a bit hard to see, let me zoom that in. You'll notice that with this one, with game mode base, it just has like the default scene route, which I forgot to delete. But if we open up the child, it has all of this stuff in it. And these are all my own custom components I've written that track each individual kind of property of a game mode. So for example, in that map I showed earlier, there's a time limit, and that's actually being run from this stopwatch component. So none of that code of running the stopwatch is in this child blueprint. Doesn't exist. It exists in this component which manages it on its own. So if I open up that, you'll see that this is the actual stopwatch or timer logic. It kind of acts like both. It's a stopwatch and a timer. So I can like give it properties. And I can use this in so many things, because I can basically go up to this. I can tell it whether or not to automatically start counting. I can tell it whether or not to reset to the last saved value when the player dies or respawns. I can tell it whether to count upwards like a stopwatch or downwards like a timer. I can give it a value to start counting from. And I can also give it a threshold. And what the threshold will do is you give it a value, and if the timer reaches that value, it'll trigger an event. So for example, if we want this to work like a time limit, we can go decrement, set the starting value to 60 seconds, and set the elapsed threshold to 0. And what that'll do is when it'll start from 60 and count downwards, and when it reaches 0, it'll trigger something. And what we then do in the game mode child is that I actually do tell it here. I use that information and those dispatches to hook into that and say, I think I've got it here somewhere. Where is it exactly? Yeah, here we go. So this is an event called onComplete stopwatch. And what this essentially does is when it reaches that threshold, then it'll trigger the game over event when it reaches 0. And that's how a time limit works in this game. So the challenge is going to be now, because now that I'm looking at this, the challenge is going to be, how do I turn all of this to have it not in a game mode and have it work with this new system? So it's going to be a case of well, let me think for a moment. Because what we're essentially going to need is, let me think. So we're gonna need to be able to create missions, and each individual mission is going to need its own set and combination of components, because some missions will behave differently than others. So for example, some missions like a time trial, right? They won't need the collectible component. And the collectible component is the thing that keeps track of you've collected 10 out of 20 parts. That's all of that code. That's where that's stored. And then the score component, I do have to rewrite this actually, but this controls ranking. So if you finish that mission, you get a gold rank or a silver rank, depending on how quickly you finish the mission. So that's how that's handled. That's all, and they're all separated. And that's what I like. I like them being separated because it lets me use these very flexibly. So I can have some missions that have a countdown or a collectible, but no time limit. So if I didn't want a time limit, I could just unplug, I can just delete the stopwatch component and then it won't have a time limit. But let's say, if I wanted to do a time trial, then it might have a stopwatch and it might count how long you're in the level. So you can essentially mix and match these to create different custom games. I guess, yeah, it's kind of like custom games. In something like, I don't know, like Halo Custom Forge or something like that. That's kind of a more complicated version of like what, like this is kind of a more complicated version of Forge, essentially. So you can have like, if we were doing a shooter game, we'd have components like, you know, kill counters, like how many, like the score component would work differently and track things like kills and assists and all that. But in my game, of course, it's a bit more simple. But using it in Unreal Engine is way more complicated than using it in Halo 3 Forge. So that's kind of why it's maybe a bit scarier to people. But that's essentially how I like to work. It's very modular. It's just a challenge of how do we convert that to a new kind of framework. So because I remember what I did last week was that I went to I think I had an actor that I had made. I'm just gonna have to look it up real quick. So yeah, I've got this actor in the world, because you might be wondering, with the current scene I have, how is that working? Because I think what I did, yeah, so in this little actor in my hierarchy here, I have a actor. It's just an empty actor, and every object in Unreal is based off the actor class. So static meshes are a type of actor, players are a type of actor, and so on. But I've just got an empty one here, and the empty actor has that component on it. So if I open up that blueprint, because all of the code I've written for this new system is also in a component, just like the stopwatch and the countdown timer and all that. So that's in its own component, and then that is put on an empty actor. And if we look at that, this is what the actor looks like in the components. It just has nothing, and then a mission component, which controls exiting and entering the mission state. That's all that does. Now, I could have done all of that code on the actor itself, but usually when I do that, I end up turning it into a component later on anyway. So that's how I've done it. So this is going to be completely empty, more or less, but I think let me think for a moment. So I think how this will work is what's going to happen is we're going to have this mission component, and this is going to have all of the events on it. So it's going to have things like on mission start, on mission end, complete, fail, and we can bind those to things in this actor. And then the actor itself will be the mission. I think that's how it's going to work. So I'm just wondering if I need to have a parent or not. Let me think for a moment. I don't think so. Yeah, no, I shouldn't do. So I might leave this just on its own, and we'll make another actor. Give me a moment. Well, actually, yeah, we'll make a child, actually, because my logic is there's going to be the component, which is this thing, which that handles the very abstract stuff. Like, the logic is you could take this component and put it in any Unreal project and it'll work. Now, I think it's when we start working with actors is when we want to get into specifics. So I think let me do this on Notepad. I'm just brainstorming at the moment because I have to think very carefully about how I go about this, because this is a bit different to the level design streams, because it's not like I already have a plan and I'm just going to go do it. This is me planning. This is what planning looks like for me. Because essentially I have to, for this, because this is like a very fundamental system, and it's probably not a good thing that I've left it to this late, but better late than never. So essentially how this is going to work is you've got the component, which manages things like the basics, fundamentals. So things like entering, exiting, etc. It's like just that stuff, like a state machine. But then the actor, we want to get into specifics, or just broad specifics. So it might be stuff like, well, let me think, because there might be things that we want to be common for every mission in the game. Like, for example, when player dies, show game over screen. Now, we could do this in the component, but I would like to think that maybe the component should be more abstract, and it might allow for things like a game over screen, but actually spawning that screen in should be done in a parent. We'll call this a parent actor. In the parent actor, we'll call this, I think I've already named it. It's called mission base. And what I'm picturing is that actor is going to be like the template mission. It's going to have like, it's going to use the basics from the component in a very simple way that would be the case for every mission in the game. So handling, like hooking into when the player dies and triggering stuff to happen when you respawn and stuff that would be true all the time. But then it's when we get to the more lower level stuff. So then we have child actor. So what I'm planning on doing is, if I want to make a new mission in the game, I right click on the parent actor and go, right click, make child. And that'll carry all of the basics specific stuff. Like when I say base broad specifics, it's like stuff that, well, let me think. So component is very high level, abstract, not specific to Project Feline, just specific to, if I wanted to use this system for another game, you can drag it in and it'll work. So another game might not have dying, it might not have respawning, it might just have, it might be really simple, but I want that component to work. But because Project Feline has things like, respawning and whatever, it'll then do that in the actor. Now, it's then when we get to the child actor that we do stuff like the specific mission. So things like time limits, scoring, etc. And that'll be on the child. And the child actor will add those components to from earlier. And then, yeah, I think that's how it'll work. I'm just trying to like think this through first before I go and program stuff. But that's kind of the plan. I think that's how I want it to work. Because essentially, what I want to be able to do is, because I always say, like one thing I always try and do that I think everyone in their right mind does, is you try and write the code and pretend that someone else is going to have to use it. They might not. Like, I know for me, solo developer, it's very unlikely that anyone's going to need to touch my code. But I think it's still a good practice to write it as if someone would, because not only does it make the code more readable, and it might even be the case that, like, if the case so happens where someone else needs to look at it and use it, then at least you've done that legwork and you don't have to go and retool everything or spend hours training them on how to use it, because you've written it intuitively from the start. Now, that may take more upfront time to write it intuitively, but I think it's worthwhile, because not only is it better for other people, it's even better for you. Because I'm sure if there are any programmers in the chat, you can relate to that moment where you look at code you wrote from a year ago and it's like, I know I wrote this, but I've got no idea how this works now. I can't remember. So if you write it intuitively, as if someone else is going to use it, that's probably going to happen and you're going to be thankful. And when I say someone else is going to use it, it could be you from the future, because you can kind of count that as someone else, because you're not going to be the same person in a year's time. So if you come back a year from now and need to touch this stuff, you should write the code now so that future you is going to be happy. So that's kind of the thing that's also going through my head right now as I plan this, as I'm thinking, if I had to give this to someone else, which could be me in the future or someone else, is this going to be easy to understand and to use? And is making the mission itself, like if I wanted to make mission content, which I'm going to need to do in alpha, is doing that going to be easy? Because you want it to be easy. That's my goal. I want it so that if I make missions in this game, if I have an idea, because so many times this happens, where you have an idea and it's like, oh, I just had this idea for a mission. But if it takes too long to implement, you kind of lose that momentum and excitement, and then the mission doesn't get implemented because it's too difficult. It's not worth the trouble. But if you make it so easy, then you can have those spontaneous moments and you cannot kill them with how complex your systems are. So you can actually go, hey, I just came up with this cool mission. And if it only takes you 5 minutes to implement that mission idea because you spent the hours of work previously building a good system for you to do that, then life's good. So yeah. So let me just look at this for a moment and see if there's anything wrong with this that I can point out. I don't think so. This seems like how it should work. Yeah, all right. I think that's going to be the plan. This is how it'll work, and we'll see where we go from here. So I'll make a child. So this is how it looks like in practice now. Now that we've got it planned out, we go to our, I think I've got my core folder. Oh, actually, where did I put? I don't know where I put that, actually. I think it's placeables. No, I wouldn't have put it in placeables. Maybe it's in, where did I put that? Where is this actor? Mission base. I have no idea where I've put it. Oh, no, I don't want to... No, don't open Visual Studio. I don't want to... No, I didn't mean to do that. No! Visual Studio, go away! It's been so long since I've launched Visual Studio. I only used to use it for Unity, like 5-6 years ago, and I have, like, barely touched it since. Where is that? Yeah, because I need to make a chart of it, but I need to know where I've put it in my project, and I can't remember. So yeah, this is me from a week ago, and I can't remember where I put this last week, and now me now is not happy with past me. Where the hell did I put it? Oh, it's in a folder called missions. Okay. I don't know why I missed that. That should have been obvious. So here's how it looks in practice now. So we go to the base mission, and this might have some very like game broad stuff that'll be true for everything. We then right click, create child. And we'll call this BP underscore time trial. That's the simplest one. So we'll just make a time trial. And you can see we now have blueprint underscore time trial. Actually, you know what? We'll call it mission underscore time trial, just to make sure it's like specific. So give it a second. And then we then open that up. And this won't have anything in it yet because the parent is also empty. But that's when we'll make our missions. So let me think for a second here. Because I'm looking at game mode base, and I'm wondering if there's stuff that I need to do here. Like that, if there's stuff I haven't ported over correctly. Let me think. Because I think what I gotta start doing now is, because the way I've got this working, because the thing is, I'm trying to make this based on actors as much as possible. But game modes, like you can't get rid of game modes. There's actually still a game mode running in the game. So the question becomes, do I want to still put stuff on a base game mode or not? Because this is the base, actually let me reopen that real quick. Game modes, base. So the base game mode still has stuff that I'm probably going to use, like locking the mouse cursor and all of that stuff. Setting volumes, all of that. I don't know if any of this is, because I'm going to see if I can transfer as much of the functionality from the base game mode to the base mission system, to the base, whatever the thing. So this does the pausing, which I don't think, should that be in the mission? Nah, that shouldn't be in the mission system. Because that's gonna be, so, all right, so real quick, I'll just say, the game mode. So this is actually another level I didn't factor in here. So the game mode is gonna have very, like, real, like, absolute basics. So things like, whatever's happening while you're not in a mission. Because my thought process at the moment is because the game mode, the way that the system is currently, the game mode handles mission rules and very basic things like mortality and stuff. So things like spawning, checkpoints. So the challenge here is going to be, because that needs to be in the game mode, because even while you're not in a mission, you need to be able to respawn the character, because I think if you take that away, and if the player glitches to an area that they're not supposed to go and it hits the kill volume, and if the respawn logic is in a mission system and not in the game mode, then that's going to be problematic, because you'll get stuck, basically. So there's got to be some things that stay in the game mode, and some things that I take out and put into one of these three things. So the question is, what are those going to be? Because I have a bunch, like there's a lot going on here. So yeah, things like this, game complete and game over, I'm going to unplug those. I don't think those should be in the persistent game mode, because those aren't going to matter unless we're in a mission. So I guess that's the criteria. I'm going to look at this asset and go, is this for a mission? or does this need to be here all the time? And if it is for a mission, I'm not gonna delete it yet, but I'm gonna unplug it and basically render it not functional, because I want to transfer, because I'm very sure this stuff I have already ported over, so this stuff is redundant now. This, I'm not sure if I need to keep this in. I think I do need to keep this in, actually, because this is binding things so that when the player dies, which can happen to you while you're outside of a mission, so that need to stay in the game mode. Now this, I'm not sure about, with enabling and disabling inputs. I'm gonna unplug that for now, because I know that I've ported this over too. And I've superseded this with better logic. So we're gonna unplug those two. And we're gonna keep bind players. So that when the character and there's also a thing where if the character is destroyed for whatever reason, and what that essentially means is if the character, like the blueprint for the character gets destroyed, like physically gets deleted from the game, then we don't want you to be able to keep playing, of course. So I'll put the game over, plug that in, so that the game over state comes up. Because who knows, that might happen for some reason. We don't need game start event, because that's a mission thing. There is no start and end state while you're not in a mission. Pausing and unpausing we will need, because you should be able to pause and unpause the game while not in a mission. We can skip this opening part, because that's all mission stuff. We want the cursor to be locked and invisible. We want the audio volume settings to load in. So yeah, that's another, it looks a bit weird, but this also will load in the volume levels from your settings. So that all happens here, which shouldn't be in a mission. This should happen all the time. And yeah, so I think game mode base, I think that's how I want to leave it. So that means if I don't have a mission active at all, so yeah, what I might do, just to test this, I'm gonna get rid of these invisible walls and see if I can kill myself. And see if respawning still works, because it should. Actually, I don't know if I have a kill volume on this map. Give me a moment. Yeah, no, I don't think I do. So I think there is one in the gameplay scene. Yeah, right here. There we go. Oh, that's a nav mesh bounds. Where's is there a kill volume? I should usually put a kill volume in. There is no kill volume. All right, I have to make one. Because I just want to make sure that still works before I go and start making missions. Because that's very important that you're able to respawn. So, oh, you know what? I don't even, give me a moment. I'll just put a laser in, easy. Components, oh no, I think it's a placeable laser. Yeah, we'll just put in one of these boys. So this is like what I use for the laser component that I made earlier, like the laser grid stuff. Now when I touch this object, it should kill me and respawn me. Okay, that still works. The dying and respawning still works. So that's good. We want that to stay working. Now, mission system. What's going to be in the mission, in the base mission? You know what? We won't worry about the base mission yet. We'll worry about making an actual mission with components and all, and then we'll look at what stuff should probably be in the parent and what should be in the child. I think that's, because in my head, I'm trying to figure out what things should be in that parent and what should be in the child. So what things like yeah, so actually this stuff is in the game mode. So I don't know actually what we'll do with the parent, because I'm trying to think of anything that would, because usually just as a precaution, I'll do it like this, because I usually find some use for a parent and child. But I'm not sure if actually that might be a redundancy, because we might not need that. Because all of the basic stuff can be relegated to a game mode, I guess. Because anything else, yeah, hold on, let me think for a moment. Anything else is going to, so anything that will happen in the game instance that should happen all of the time will be in the game mode. And that's going to be persistently loaded at all times. It's very rare that a mission, that all of the missions will need to change that. So this kind of makes this useless. So we can get rid of this. And we can just have actors. Okay. I'll do that. That's how we'll roll. So I'll make a new actor. We'll get rid of that child. So yeah. So if this seems a bit... I'm a bit confused as well, by the way, if this sounds hard to follow. I'm just thinking out loud at the moment. Where did I put all that stuff? Okay. So we'll get rid of mission. We'll get rid of that. And we'll just make a blank actor and give it the mission component. And see what we can build. So give me a moment. It's just going to delete that thing I made. While that goes, I haven't read the... Sorry, I've just been very focused. I haven't read the chat. Can you load a level additively? Yes, you can. But you can't run its own game mode. That's the thing. That is a good question though, Pedro. I did consider that, and I have tried it. Unfortunately... if a persistent level is loaded, the game mode can only ever be what's first loaded in the current instance. If you loaded another instance asynchronously, with its own game mode, it won't activate it. It'll ignore it. So that's why I have to not rely on the game mode system. Oh wait, American Wasteland had a persistent system? Oh cool, I had no idea. Respect plus, yeah, sure, I can do something like that. So we'll make a new empty actor. Call this BP underscore mission underscore time trial. And I think what we'll do, we'll make the types of missions like this. But if we need to change things, we can either do that in the level blueprint or we can make childs of these. So yeah, what we'll do is actor. So we'll call this mission types, like archetypes of missions, like things like, yeah, so we'll do stuff like this. Actually, we may not even need to, but just bear with me. So we'll do things like, stop what, to mission types like time trial, collectathon, etc. But then the child actor could be the actual specific parameters. But there's actually, we can make that stuff instance editable probably. So you may not even need that. But I'll just write this here in case. So, okay, that's just my mental map at the moment. Moving on, we'll continue on with the system now. So now we have our blank actor. Let me just, do I need all of this open? I think I might need this open. I won't need that open. And I won't need that open. And I'll keep that open. Cool, so I have like 3 blueprints open right now. So this is the empty actor. It's completely empty. Nothing is on this at all. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna add that mission component. Let's call this mission, we'll just call it mission. Now what we can do is, in the event graph, we can bind stuff. Well, actually, we'll add in all the components, because for a time trial, we're also gonna need a stopwatch. And then we are also, so we'll call that stopwatch, and we'll also need a score component. I think I call it score, but it's really more of a rank system. I think that's, at least with this current one, because I have 2 versions. Yeah, you can see here actually, there is a array of prerequisites and then like rank. Bronze, silver, gold, and so on. So for a time trial, you'd want that. I can't exactly remember what the rank, how to use the array for the rank prerequisites, because it's just an array of booleans, and I can't remember how to use it honestly, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. So to make a time trial mission, we're gonna need a few things. We're gonna need to, let me think. we're going to need... Every time I say that, in my head, my internal Todd Howard starts talking. We're going to need 16 times the detail, 4 times the size of Fallout 4. But we're going to need to bind some of these events. So we're going to need to do something like... Okay, so what I can do now that I have the mission component added, we can go over here and say on mission start, we can bind an event. So now we can actually bind something to when that happens. We can also, there's another thing, we need to bind a few more. We need to also bind on mission end, and we need to bind on mission complete. And you can't fail a time trial, so I won't bother doing a mission fail. Is there anything else? On mission... on pause? No, we don't really need to do anything when the game's paused. So I think that's it. We just need these 3 dispatches. So when the mission starts, we're going to need to go to the stopwatch and tell it to start the stopwatch. So start on start event. That's what we need to do, I think. Or actually, because I noticed something about this actually. Yeah, so the way I built these components, I don't think I used event dispatches properly. So what I'm instinctually thinking to do, because I've used them differently for the base system, because I was thinking to do call on start like this, but because I didn't use them properly, I made custom events. So I might want to fix that later, but for now we'll just do this. So we need to trigger the stopwatch start when the mission starts. And when the mission ends, we want to stop event. We also might want to do a respawn, something like that. Which actually, now that I think about it, maybe I should add that to the base, because I don't think I have an on respawn, I believe. Yeah, because now that I think about it, a mission is going to need to be able to know if you've died and respawned. So yeah, I'll need to go back to the base here and go on player respawn. And we'll events to occur when player is respawned. Because also the thing I'm thinking about here, because I'm going to use Halo as an example, because I just remember something about in the Halo Vidocs they talked about this. But for Halo, because I remember, because a friend of mine is working on a system kind of like this as well, but he's got lots more things like enemy AI, kind of like in Halo, right? And what we learned was that in Halo, when you die, it doesn't reload the entire level. It only reloads like the entire geometry. Like, you know how when you start, like, I don't know if anyone's here has played the original Halo 3 on like Xbox 360, like just on a last gen console, you know, back when loading screens were still a thing. Because in Halo 3 or Halo Reach, when you start the campaign from the menu, it has that, you know, mission loading, and it takes a while. And in Halo 3, it has that ring animation, right? But you notice how when you die in the campaign, like you're playing solo, and you die in the campaign, you notice how it doesn't need to have another loading screen? That sounds weird, right? Because it's like, hold on, doesn't it need to do that for it to restore my progress? Well, no, actually. Because all it does is it'll reload one part of the level. Because the way that, I don't know how it works in Halo specifically, but in my game, the way I've built stuff, if I open up my levels panel, you'll see that there's like 8 persistent levels loaded. You might be like, why on earth is there 8 levels in this level? And the reason why is because I've broken up the level into different streamable components. So for example, I have gameplay. I also have lighting on its own persistent thing. So I can turn off all of the lighting. The geometry's still there, by the way, but I can like load in different lighting. And I also have the meshing itself. So if I put this on my other window real quick. So I have different layers. I've got the meshing layer, and that's its own level, but it's loaded in persistently to the persistent level. We've got mesh, and you'll notice that there's still bits here, because this is all, these are all audio volumes, which I can then turn off as well. And then there's also, there's the other gameplay level I have where it's got checkpoints and enemies and stuff. And this is where the Halo thing comes relevant. You see how here, because if I turn everything back on again, you'll see that I have like, this is, because most people who have played the build have seen these enemies in the test level. These are actually loaded in their own level, but they're loaded in on top of everything else. Now in Halo, my theory is, because I don't know how it works exactly, but my friend and I were playing the game, when we were playing the campaign, and we noticed that when you died in Halo, it would respawn the enemies that you had killed. Because if you, let's say you die, like you spawn in, you kill the first room of enemies, and then you die. When you respawn, that first room of enemies will respawn back in, right? So our theory was, because there's no loading screen, that they're keeping all of the geometry and stuff loaded in, but they're just reloading the level with all of the enemies on it. And they're just reloading that, and when you reload it, it'll just spawn all the enemies back in as if you hadn't touched them. And I noticed that in, I think it was in another game, I noticed the same kind of deal. I think it was in like Sonic, one of the Sonic games. I noticed that when I hit a checkpoint, let's say I collect a bunch of rings and kill a few enemies and then hit a checkpoint. But then when I die and respawn, all of the enemies I had previously killed also respawn, like even from before I hit the checkpoint. Like you'd expect all of the enemies you kill after the checkpoint to respawn, but all of the enemies from before also respawn. So if I was at the end of the level, hit a checkpoint, killed 2 enemies and died, not only would those 2 enemies I killed respawn, but all of the enemies from the entire map and the rings and everything would also respawn back in. So that, in my brain, I imagine it works similar to the thing I've shown here, where like all of the rings and enemies and whatever are on their own thing, and that part gets reloaded. But because that's cheap to reload, you don't have to reload all the lighting and graphics, because that's why loading screens are, you know, like in my game, the scenes that take the longest to load are the ones with more graphics. So that's why, you know, with like light maps and textures. So if you're not reloading those, if you're just reloading the AI state, that's super cheap. That's why it takes so quick. Anyway, so I just wanted to explain that, because in my state of mind here, I'm thinking of in my base system, because in my base mission system, there is no way to know if the player has respawned or died. So well, actually there is a way to know that it's died, and there's a way to know that it's respawned, but I haven't done anything with that. So in my logic, I want to be able for my system to know if the player has respawned, because if we do that, we can then tell the time trial mission. We can say, hey, when the player dies, respawn, or let's say this was a combat mission, for example. This might make more sense. Let's say this was a combat mission or a collectathon mission. And let's say we have in the mission where it's like, hey, if the player has respawned, reload the mission content. Not the map, not the geometry, but the mission content. Now, at the moment, there's no way for me to do that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking to do now. So real quick, let's have a look. Because I have this, I think I recycled this from the game mode. And I think I didn't really think about it at the time, but now that I'm looking at it, we needed that so that when the player dies, it goes mission fail. Which actually, oh yeah, there's a boolean for that. So we can actually change whether or not we want to enable this to be true. Now there's on mission respawn. I don't think I've got any events for that, so we will assign an event. Actually, wait a second. Because what's this? What's this custom event? Where did that come from? Oh, that might have just been from the mission. So this actually might not do anything. So I think I wrote it like I was going to do something with it, but I don't think I did. So yeah, because there's no on respawn in the event. So this dispatcher, this should have lodged an error because this doesn't exist. Oh, actually, no. Sorry, I got that all wrong. This actually does exist, but this is referencing the player. Okay, so that does exist. But we need to bind our own thing to it, it looks like. Yeah. So I think what we do is we call that, but then we have to bind it up here too, I think. Give me a moment to think, actually. Where is on mission fail? Yeah. Yeah, so what we do is, yeah, so I was just thinking there for a second. So we want to drag that in, assign. We want to make another custom event like I did before. But this has like two kind of bindings in a way, I think. Actually, I don't know if that's needed. Unless I want to, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do it the way I did it earlier. But I might reorder this. So we'll put this over here and that over here. So basically, with my little thing from before, what doing this will allow me to do is have it so that the missions know, and well, it's not knowing when the player dies, because there might be other reasons the player needs to be respawned. And it can now, what it can do with this is that it can tell when the player has respawned and go, oh, the player's respawned. Let's activate something in the mission. Like maybe the mission restarts or something like that, you know? Or let's say like with the time trials, let's say if you respawn, it will set your time to the time from your last checkpoint. So I think that's what it'll let us to do stuff like that, basically. And I don't think I'm going to put anything here. There's stuff we could put in, but I can't think of anything yet. So we will just move all this down real quick to squeeze that in. So I like organizing this in a certain way. All right, that's pretty tidy. I'll do a print string here just to test. Because we'll need to test that. Respawned. And we'll need to do one for death. Did I make one for death? Call on mission fail. Oh, well, mission fail is death. Yeah, okay. So that we should be able to... Well, actually, now what should happen is, we can actually test that right now. Because what we should be able to do is, if I press R, yeah, it prints in the corner, it says player respawned. So now the game mode, not the game mode, sorry, the mission system now knows when the player's been respawned. And now we can bind stuff to that. Okay, cool. So that's kind of, it's flowing. Juices are flowing now. So if we go now to the time trial, we might want to do something now when the player is respawned. And I think I've already built in a way to save the time of the stop. I think I've already built something like that. So give me a moment. I'm going to try and see if I can implement that real quick. So if we go to the mission system, I might need to compile it. Yeah, on player respawn, we can now tell it to do something. So let's say we tell the stopwatch to, what events does the stopwatch have actually? Yeah, I think it's load. Load elapsed time. I can't remember. Yeah, So I think, yeah, that's what it'll let us do. So if the mission detects that while the mission is active, the player has been respawned, we can now if we want, we can have it so that the stopwatch value resets. Now that's not necessarily something I might want to do for a time trial, because some people might want it that if you die, the timer keeps going. But if I wanted to do something where it loads, I could. That's the logic I'm thinking. So I'm going to leave it like this for now to test it. I might not actually have it work that way, but the fact that I can do it is like what's important to me here. It's not whether I will do it. It's whether that the mission system can do this stuff. It's capable of this, because another type of mission that's not a time trial might need to also know this stuff for whatever reason. So yeah, what else? Mission complete. We might need to do something here. Because yeah, another thing I need to look at is spawning in a mission complete screen, because I can't remember. I think here I did it very complicated. Yeah, so I think what I'll need to, yeah, wait a minute, let me think. On start, oh yeah, so there's also the countdown component. So what the countdown component does, and, you know, I'll ignore that for now. We'll get to that later. But I'll just copy like the core stuff. So yeah, so also for the stopwatch to work, because the stopwatch actually doesn't run on tick, it runs on a timer, because I was told that it's more efficient, but honestly I don't know if there's a difference. But because of how I built it, I will need to have it so that while the stopwatch is started, it needs to actually update it. So on start, on stop. So we'll need to make a timeline. Update stopwatch. And then the timeline will have to, I'll just set the length to 1 and then turn loop on. And that's all it does. It just will loop a set of logic. And then while that's there, we then can get the stopwatch and go update elapsed time. So that'll actually make the stopwatch tick. That's what this does. Now, there's one more problem. The HUD, because I'm thinking, the other thing as well is the stopwatch, if we were to put this mission in the game, it would work. Like, when the mission is activated, the stopwatch will start going, and when we end the mission, it'll stop. And while it's running, it'll update it. And if the player is respawned, it'll save and load the stopwatch value. But there's no way of knowing this works because there's no graphical HUD element that will display, because that's not handled by the mission system yet. We can turn missions on, but it doesn't spawn in the right HUD elements, so we'll need to do that as well, actually. So on begin play, we'll have to do something like spawn widget or something like that. Spawn user widget. I think it's is it create widget? Construct. Yeah, so we'll do HUD underscore timed, or just race. I think I called it race. Add to player screen. So with this, we won't put on begin play. We'll do that on mission start. So when mission starts, it'll start the stopwatch and spawn in the HUD. It'll spawn in the right HUD components and all that. So we'll give that a test because I'm actually not sure yet what else needs to happen. Oh yeah, actually we should despawn we should delete that the HUD afterwards. So yeah, we'll make a variable promote to, where's the thing? Promote to variable, there we go. And we'll call this HUD. So yeah, if we make that a variable, we can then tell it to delete this. I think it's a remove from parent. I think that's, yeah, that'll get rid of it. So when the mission ends, it'll stop the stopwatch and turn the HUD off for the stopwatch. That's what should happen. But yeah, we'll give that a go. We might get an error, but we'll just see if this works. So what we'll do, because you might be wondering, how are we going to activate the mission? And this is something I'm still working on, but for the moment, I've got a very basic system. Because in the level blueprint, for this specific map, I've just put these trigger volumes in that activate the mission. So what we'll do, we'll drag in the BP mission time trial, and we'll put that in the gameplay map, which that should work, right? Give me a moment. So if I drag in mission time, why does it keep saying out of bounds? Oh, okay. Well, why is it still out of bounds? It's so weird. It says outside mission, outside level bounds. Continue? Okay, but I don't know if that's in the game. Oh, it is. Okay, well that's, okay, never mind. So we now have the mission loaded in the level, in the world. It's just an empty actor. It doesn't matter where we put it, but it has the stuff there. And so what we need to do then is go to the level blueprint for this map and tell the time trial when these I know this is a band-aid way of doing it, but when that trigger is activated, it'll call mission start but it does that for that old one. So we'll do this for the we'll get mission component and plug that in to here instead. So this will replace it. So now, well, let's see what let's give this a test flight and see if this actually works. So we're gonna go show volumes. So if I run in here, oh, well that didn't work. Accessed none, trying to read property HUD. Interesting. Didn't work. Of course it didn't work. It never works the first time. So it's something with the this event here on mission start. It's triggering the mission start because that print string showed up. If I ran through that box, it says mission start, but it doesn't do the stuff it's supposed to do when mission starts. I might rebind the stuff in the level blueprint again. It's time trial. Oh. Wait, hold on. Call mission start. I think that's what I needed. Yeah, no, I needed to do it this way. Call on mission end. Because I actually wasn't calling the dispatches, I was calling the events. That could have been why. So that should work now. Let's give it a go. So if I run through that volume, yeah, look, the HUD spawned. Now it's not working yet, but like the timer isn't binding correctly to the HUD. So the actual stopwatch is running, but the HUD isn't displaying it. But the HUD itself spawned. It's just the number isn't updating right. So that means then, if I run through the second box, the HUD should despawn. Oh, it didn't. But it spawned in. Okay, so it's kind of working. Why is it not despawning? Mission end. Stopwatch. Stop event. Wait, what's this mean? Oh yeah, no, that's correct. It looks like the mission end state just isn't working at the moment. Wait, did I? Yeah, no, on mission end, that should be it, right? Oh, no, I did that wrong, actually. It's on mission complete, because this is the complete, call on mission complete. That should do it. But what I might, no, actually, no, that should have still worked, but, well, all right, we'll try that. We'll see. So run through that one, it should spawn it, and the other should despawn it. Okay, well, the thing, the mission end thing did trigger. Like the actual print string. When I run through that, it said mission end, but it didn't despawn the timer. On mission end. Maybe I'll do a test print here as well. And we'll go big thing so I could read it easily. Mission start. Okay, so this is being done, but I guess I'm just not I'm not this thing isn't going to delete the HUD properly, I guess. That's why. So it's not it works. It's just like the stopwatch is actually stopping, but the HUD isn't despawning correctly. How do you, because I know it's removed from parent, right? Maybe it's because I add to player screen and not to viewport. I don't know, I don't want to do it this way, but we'll try it. So, spawn. Oh, it still doesn't work. Huh. Well, that's curious. Oh, thanks for the posture check, boys. Sorry, I've just been very focused. Oh, is that a Doritos chip? Thank you. I'll take that chip. Very cool. So yeah, so I've just been like super concentrated at the moment. I haven't been checking chat. I'm just kind of like semi-panicked at why this isn't working. This is where the fun begins. Remove from parent does not work. The thing is though, is that this works. The event is triggered, the stopwatch does stop, but the HUD does not despawn. So this is Google time. Oh, did I miss a raid? Oh, sorry, guys. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just really in the zone. I always struggle with Twitch, you see. I'm sure long-time viewers will know. There's that duality where it's like you gotta be an entertainer and you have to get work done at the same time. So I apologize. But thank you, whoever that was, Ollie Boy. Thanks so much. Sorry, I was just... It's supposed to play a noise when you do that, but it didn't play a noise. So sorry, I'm just like really focused. But you know, I guess that's good, right? It means the game's getting done. I hope that's what we're here for. But thanks, man. I appreciate it. Oh, a fellow Australian. Awesome. I don't know if you're still here or not, but thank you. Oh no, he's gone. Fuck. I feel so embarrassed now. God damn it. I'm a terrible streamer. I might be a decent game developer, but I'm a very bad entertainer. Well, preferably yes, that's how I'd like it to work, but that's not how I've made it at the moment. The way I've made it is that it's complicated. The way I've made it is basically to have the stopwatch on screen. It's part of this canvas that I have to spawn in with a bunch of other stuff. Like I didn't think about it that much when I made it. So the only way I can do it right now is this way. in terms of spawning in this entire HUD widget, which has the stopwatch on it. But yeah, it's you know, I didn't think it through when I first made it. So that's what I'd like to do later, but that's we'll get to the HUD stuff later on. I actually would, like, a little stretch goal for me, I actually kind of want to gut and redo the HUD completely because it looks disgusting. But I'm just gonna worry about that later because it works for the moment. Or at least it was working 5 minutes ago. It doesn't work right now. That's a big problem. Let me think, because it's Google time. Unreal delete HUD. Because I'm very sure it's removed from parent, but that's not working. But preferably, yes, I would like to do it by component, but that'll take more work. I'll do that later. I just want to get it working the simple, like, just with the overall HUD first. And wow, this is taking a long time to open this web page. Let's open up a few more, shall we? Oh, this is a Unreal tournament. Nope. Why is Unreal Answers taking so long? I need you. Don't go. Okay, well, that's show hide. Okay, what's Reddit got? Add to player screen. Set. Well, I don't want to set visibility. No, we're not doing that. I'm not setting visibility because it's still there. It's just invisible, and it's not good. Maybe we do need to put an owning player, or do we? Actually, we can't do that here anyway. Well, no. Wait. Get player. Maybe I need to put that in. I don't know what target does. I have no clue. Because I think I do spawn in some widgets here. Yeah, I don't actually... Oh, actually target... Oh, wait, what is that looking for? Okay. Get self. I think that needs to go there. That actually might fix the stopwatch not working, maybe. But I don't know, we'll try that. Okay, that's a negative. Still doesn't work. Why? Why you no work? Okay, that's the same. I don't know. I don't know what to do here. It's like, that should work, right? Like, how did I do this? Remove from parent. Yeah, that should work. But just for whatever, we'll try that. It's probably not assigning that variable. Oh, wait. Hold up. Hold up. I think I noticed something just then. I gotta watch really closely. Oh my god. Okay, backing up for a second. I think I know what's happening. And it's not good. So, I think what's happening is, for some reason, it's spawning 2 of these in. Because I notice it's very subtle. It's very subtle, but I notice that when I run through this volume and when it spawns, when I run through the second volume, I notice that the opacity of where it says ×0 in the top, the opacity decreases slightly. So if I move, yeah, like just then. So I think it's two of them are being spawned on top of each other. And that, oh, that's interesting. Why is it doing it twice? Let's do a print. So when I start mission, yeah, so this is being activated twice still for some reason. Oh, you know what? I think I know why. Ooh, excuse me. Oh yeah, okay, I understand. Okay, I know why. I feel like I feel like something's wrong. I feel like because it's this the way to fix this is by copying this. Yeah, so this is what it wants you to do. It wants you to do a branch, go to the mission, and go is active. Oh no, not that way. Active, mission active. It wants me to do this check first. That'll fix it, but I feel like this should be implied when this is fired in the first place. So now, okay, now it works. Oh, that is, I don't like that, but okay, well at least it does work now. Like, the binding doesn't work yet, so it spawns the HUD on. And when I run into the mission end, it does the thing. But it doesn't let me reactivate the mission for some reason, which is curious. So let me double check, because I think I should be able to reactivate that trigger. Pretty sure. Yeah, it should reactivate it, but it doesn't let me. So if I go mission complete. Ah, I see. No, yeah, no, that should work. It should set mission active back to false, and it should let me restart the mission again. So if I go there, it should spawn... Oh, actually, no, it does work. Okay, I just didn't miss the trigger box. But it doesn't seem to deactivate the mission again, which is bad. Oh, no, it does. Oh, that's weird. Oh, I need wireframe. So it lets me start a mission and end it, but it's like stacked. Oh. So it gets caught on something though. So if I go back to wireframe mode, and if we touch that, it should say mission start, mission end, mission start, mission end, mission start, mission end. But it duplicated it one time. Yeah, just then I ran through it twice and it like duplicated it twice. So that's bad. Oh wait. Show volumes. I don't know what I did exactly. I think it's when I exited. Yeah. Okay. Oh wait, no, that was fine. Okay, that's weird. Mission start, mission end, start, mission end. Oh, wait, there we go. Start, mission end, mission start. Because I wonder if it was because if it's like on trigger exit that's doing that, but it's not. Ah. So, let me try that one more time. I just want to be absolutely sure that that's what the thing is. Because I think what's happening is... Okay. So... So what's... Okay, so what's happening is... I need to do a print string again to demonstrate this. So the actual... the mission component is fine, but it's the actor that's mucking up. It's like triggering this multiple times. So I'll do a print string here on this part after it does that check. Actually, wait. I'll just do this, and I think I know what I need to do to fix it, but I just want to like be sure that I'm demonstrating what's going on. So yeah, see how it says R every time I touch this? So every time I every time I touch this trigger, another timer HUD spawns. But it only ends the mission once. Okay, so I need to change the base system slightly. Because essentially, this mission start will fire no matter what. Let me think for a second. I think what should happen is, okay, I think I might know where to look. So yeah. So that will bypass, and we'll put this in the bindings. So every time it's the dispatcher is called, it'll only trigger the actual event. Well, I think that should work, but I'm not actually sure now that I think about it. But we'll try it. So when missions start, mission active has to be false, because you can't start a mission while one's already enabled. And we'll do the same thing for the other way around. So mission end. Yeah. And we'll put this on mission end. So if mission is true, it's looking real messy at the moment, but I'll clean it later when I get it working. Okay, this might work, but we'll try. So if I touch that, mission start. Okay, no, that didn't work. Same thing. All right, because the problem is, I'll just delete all this. The problem is that the dispatcher has no limit on how much it can be called. But, I think what I'm gonna have to do, yeah, because, okay, so when you see this is the trigger volume stuff here. So when I touch the trigger volume, it will call the dispatcher mission start, no matter what. Every time it is touched by something, it'll try to start a mission. Here's the problem though. Every time you try and start a mission, it will start the mission. But that shouldn't always be the case. What should happen is, because what I don't want to do is, I don't want it so that every time I want to activate a mission, I have to do a branch and say, is other mission active? Or, you know, I don't want to have to go and do all that because it's just more stuff to add in. I want it so that I can just plug it in and tell it to try to start a mission. But I want it to be smart enough to know when it is actually allowed to do that without me having to do a branch every time. I want it so that I can plug in mission start to mission start and say, hey, when this trigger is touched, try to start a mission. And then when it does try to start a mission, in the core system, it thinks for itself and goes, wait a minute, is a mission already active? Oh, there is a mission active? Okay, then ignore this. It should do that automatically, intelligently, but it doesn't do that because the way I've built it is it'll call this dispatcher and it's only when the dispatcher itself it's only after that it actually does the check and goes, hey, is a mission active? But you might think that that's fine, and I thought it was fine when I wrote this. But then if you have an actor that uses this component that references these dispatchers, like a mission, where I create these events on mission start, these mission starts are happening when the trigger is activated. It doesn't do the Boolean check there. It doesn't smartly go, wait a second, are we allowed to start? Like, that doesn't happen. This only happens in the for the stuff that is specified in the component. But for stuff that you specify in the actor, it doesn't do it unless you tell it to here. But even that doesn't work all the time. So what I'm thinking to do, that I might need to put another dispatcher in. So instead of like on mission start, there's on start mission and on mission start. An on start mission might be the handle that happens when a mission is attempted to start. And then that will then have a dispatcher that does that check. And if that check returns correct, then it can do on mission start and do what it's supposed to do. So we'll do that. That seems like a good fix. Or does it? Wait. I feel like maybe I could do something better than that. Could I do something better than that? Is there a better way? Because I don't want to do this garbage, like a Boolean check, for every time I want to reference these, because it's just going to get annoying. I want it to automatically, when we've hit this point, one mission start, it should already, this is after it's done, this should be after it's done the check of whether or not there is a mission already active. But how do we, I'm trying to think of the best way to do it without having, because we could make another dispatcher, but I do believe that there might be a way to do it without having to make another dispatcher. Because I feel like, let me think. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to make other dispatches. So that's what we'll do. I can't think of another way. So we'll have to make, like an on mission started, and then we'll rename this other one to on start mission to make the naming a bit clearer. So on start mission is going to be the dispatcher that activates when the game tries to activate a mission, but on mission started is going to be the dispatcher for when a mission successfully gets activated. Because on start mission, we might try to activate a mission. I could set a key binding so that when I press the Y key, it'll try to start a mission. But just because, like, it doesn't mean that a mission should start. Because if we're in the middle of a mission, I don't want it to start another mission. So yeah, so that'll be how I do it. So we'll do on start mission, which will be the handle that I use for when I want to try and activate stuff. But then on mission started is going to be the actual when it was successful deal. Actually, I might not even need to rename these events actually. But yeah, so we'll do on start mission, on end mission. Wait. Okay, no, that was, yeah. So on end mission. On start, and then we'll make another one on mission ended. And I think the others should be fine. I think. We'll leave the others for now. We'll just worry about these. So we'll get rid of that. So how are we going to work this in? I'll need to get rid of this. I need to change all this stuff. So on start mission, we want to do the branch here. So we can actually skip So yeah, we'll put that here. We won't make a custom event for these. We can just put, it'll look a bit more cluttered here, but I can accept that for this use case. And then on mission, call on mission started. So I think what that should do, that should fix it. So that's when we try to start a mission, it'll do a check first if a mission is active. And so if it's false, then it'll say, okay, we can actually do the mission start. And then we can bind stuff to that and it'll take this into account beforehand. That's what we want. So we'll do that. So I'll have to move some of this around a bit. So we'll have on start mission, on mission. I'll need to replace these actually, because these have been changed. On start mission, assign. Because if you rename one of these, you have to basically draw all these again, otherwise it breaks. So on mission end. So we'll do on end mission. And then we'll do that. So that's how that'll work. I'll move all this out of the way real quick. But we also, so on start mission, wait a second. Start mission. Wait, did I do this twice? I think I did. Yeah, hold on, I'm a bit confused. Okay, so I need to do that. So on mission started. Okay, yeah, no, this makes sense to me now, because what I want to do is mission start. There we go. That's the way I want it. So the way that for this starting the mission, it binds the event dispatches. It binds on start mission, and that's what the triggers and the world is going to try and use to activate a mission. And if it does do that, it'll do a check and say, wait a second, are we allowed to start a mission? And if we are, then it'll start a mission. And if not, it won't. Then when an actual mission is started, because that is also a dispatcher, and we can trigger things for that. So that's if we had a mission that needs to activate stuff when the mission starts, that's where that's bound to. Okay, so and then that's kind of how it's all going to work from there. So then on end of mission, it's the same deal. Except that needs to be replaced with call on mission ended. And then we go on mission ended, assign, and we bind the actual custom event there. That's how that should work. And kablam, there we go. So let me just move. I don't think I did the, we might have to do these for all the others, but I won't bother yet. I think this should work in the scope I need it to for the moment. So now, instead on the trigger, instead of saying on start mission, we'll go, I think it's like on call on, I think maybe it is called on start mission. Yeah, I think that's actually it. But instead of on mission complete, call, oh wait. No, I think we do need to do it for mission complete too, actually. Yeah. So we'll have to do that. So on mission... Well, actually, let me check something real quick. Where's on mission complete? On end mission. Call on mission. On end mission. Actually, yeah, that should be fine. I think. Or, yeah, no, actually, we will need to make these again for those. I thought that would do it, but now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, we will, yeah, so give me a moment. So on start mission, on end mission, on complete mission, and then there's a on mission complete. So I think that'll just have this in it, I think. And then, so we can get rid of that too. And then this we get rid of. We put this here. Actually, we can move all that over now. Ooh, just want to clean this up a little. I'm ignoring the print string boxes because I'm going to delete those eventually, so I'm not factoring those in to my organization, to how I organize this. Okay, cool. I need to move all these down a peg. Now back to the bindings. So we go mission ended, mission complete. Here we go. Yes, we'll need to change this. I don't know about player respawning. I think we can leave that. And these ones, yeah, those should be fine. But it's just the on complete, and then we go on fail mission. So now I'll compile, and we'll rebind these other ones. So I think on mission ended, we did. So on mission complete, we need to assign. And this should only happen, this should copy this same logic. This should only work if a mission is already active. If a mission isn't active, then it shouldn't do anything. Call on mission completed. So that's how that'll work. And then for the actual on mission completed, we give it the event that we made. Bing bong. And then we do the same for on fail mission assign. Because we can only fail a mission if a mission is active. So we'll copy that. Oh wait, why is that a duplicate of that? There we go. So, and then we do, yeah, the, oh wait, I forgot I had left something out there. Call on mission failed. That's what we want. And then here, mission failed. Yeah, boy. And then we'll move these over a wee bit. And bing bong, there we go. Let me just, I'll put a massive comment bubble around this, because this all kind of does the same thing. It's just all bindings. So, bind, or I think assign event dispatches. And then we'll move this over to be in line with the rest of the graph. Nice. And I think now I should be able to do what I wanted. So now when on start I don't actually, is that still, yeah, that's not, I have to remake these. These aren't going to work now because I've renamed them. But if we go to mission now, it should stay on mission started instead. That's what it should say. So we'll rebind that. And then on mission ended. So that's actually, because the way I've tried to word it, it's like implying that the mission got ended and it's not trying to end it. It actually got ended. Like, you know, it's happened past tense to imply that the conditions to end a mission were met. That's the kind of wording I'm trying to do there. So on mission completed, implying that we were actually able to complete the mission with the right conditions. And I think, well, now we just have to actually, yeah, so it'll try and start the mission here and then it'll try and end the mission. Call on complete mission. So this is like with the wording, it's trying to activate complete mission, but the system now will do its checks to make sure that the conditions are correct before it actually allows the dispatchers to do their thing. So that means I don't have to put booleans everywhere. So let's try that out now. I know that looked probably really boring, but it means that if it works, then I'm going to be very, very happy. So if I run into this thing, say mission start, and it shouldn't try and start the mission again afterwards. It should only let me do it once, which I think it's working. Yeah, it's working. It's working. So yeah, now it doesn't duplicate. It doesn't spawn in two of the two of the same HUD without me having to put a boolean. So that's brilliant. Because yeah, so what it lets me do now is if I want something to happen when the mission starts, I can do it. So I can say when mission starts, spawn the HUD, do everything, and bing bong, do the stuff. And I don't have to do a boolean first. I can just tell it directly to just do stuff. And this is smart enough now to know that if we try and call this, and if a mission is already active, it won't do this stuff, which is good, because that's clever. It's smart, you know? So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Let me just save all that. I think that's probably, how long have I been going? I think that might be where I stop it for today, I think. But I'm just very happy. So yeah, we made some progress there. I know it doesn't look like much, but we've got a mission. Well, the only thing what we didn't get working was having it so that the HUD was bound properly. And I think I know why it's not. I want to just spend the next 10 minutes to see if I can fix that, because that'd just be great. If we got that working, that'd be awesome. I think that'll really drive the point home and you guys can like understand what I'm actually trying to do here. Because it doesn't look great when it spawns in a timer and the timer doesn't work. It is working, like under the hood, the actual blueprints are working, but the HUD isn't displaying the right number. But the number's there, it's actually counting. But it doesn't look that great because it's not updating right. I think I could fix that quickly though, and then it'll look amazing. So if I go to the time trial mission, which is an actor now, I think I need to just like, let me think, target. So if yeah, real quick. Let me just check something. So if I go to the time, oh, that's the core folder. Components, stopwatch. I think it's this one. Or is it? Which actually, okay, it's, oh, not quite. Yeah, actually, no, yeah. So this is where it falls to pieces. It's here. It's trying to get the stopwatch from the game mode, which it can't do because the game mode doesn't have this anymore. So I need to tell it how to get a new stopwatch, but I can't tell it to look at the game mode. How do I do that? because it needs to look for an object with a stopwatch on it. But how do I know? How does it know what object to look at? Unless I make a variable. I think that's going to be the way I'll need to do it. So we'll call this mission, and the base will be we'll just call this an actor. Or we'll call this stopwatch actor. And this will be, actually I might rename that to, or stopwatch components. Yeah, I'll rename it to that, and then we'll call this stopwatch and make that an actor. And then I will tell this reference to actor with stopwatch components. And I will drag that in and do that instead of getting the game mode. But then there's one problem. Real quick, I'm gonna create widget. Instead of doing the whole HUD, we're gonna try and spawning in just this. It's gonna look bad, but just bear with me. Large stopwatch. So yeah, now we have that property where it says stopwatch component. Actually, yeah, no, wait, we don't need an actor. Wait, did I already? Oh my god, I think I did my job too well. I actually already accounted for that. Oh my god, thanks past Ray. You're great. I already accounted for that. Well. So I guess we don't need to change that at all then. I already accounted for that. I can't believe it. Who would have thought? So I don't think I need to actually change any of this. I can just tell it directly what the stopwatch is. And then, yeah, let me, large stopwatch. Yeah, there we go. Boom. Now, the only concern here is that, well, you'll see. Where's the trigger box? It should be here. Okay, yeah, just what I thought. So the thing is, if you spawn a widget directly, it doesn't have a canvas. It's just spawning the widget. So I don't know if there's a way I can put it in a canvas somehow. Google time. Unreal, spawn user widget, set position. Because it's just gonna spawn it in the corner and we won't be able to see it. Because I don't have like a canvas widget for that. Or create widget, canvas. Oh no, that doesn't exist. It's a component, that's why. Yeah, no, that makes sense. But can I like set slot as canvas? Okay, I think that's what I was looking for, but I don't know what that does. That I think I used it once, but I can't remember exactly what it does. So Unreal slot canvas. Slot as canvas slot. I gotta just look up what this does. Gets the slot object on the child widget as a canvas slot, allowing you to manipulate layout information. Yeah, that's what I'm after. Now, how do you actually manipulate layout information? I don't know, but we might be able to set position. Yeah, there we go, set position. Let's put this in like 40. I don't know what number that'll give us, but I don't know, it might work. Let's give it a go. Why is it spawning me? Oh, wait, let's go back here and spawn there. Is the mission starting? Okay, it's not spawning the... It's definitely not spawning the thing. Oh, set position got an error. What does that mean? Mish... Oh, what is that? Access none. Trying to read return property. Okay. Oh. Oh, so that what this is trying to do is it's trying to get the canvas slot in that component, but this doesn't have one. Fair enough. Okay, that's fair enough. I might have to look up something else. Unreal spawn widget without canvas. Maybe there's a way I can get there. Yeah, actually, there might be another way to do this. I have an idea. Get game mode. I think there should be a get HUD. Get HUD class. And then we will get... Oh, no, that's not it. Get HUD. Oh, well, wait. Oh, that's the variable I made. I think there's a way to, let me think. I want to be able, because the thing is, there is a canvas in the world, technically. Like if I run the game, the HUD that I have drawn up now, that is a canvas. And I'm curious if I can spawn the timeline into the canvas that's already there. That's the thing, that's the idea that I'm rolling with. I have to believe that there's a way. Looks like other people have also tried this. Would that create a problem? Well, no, we're not going to have multiple missions running at once. That's not how we're going to do it. It's not going to be like Skyrim quest system or anything. It's just going to be simple, one mission at a time. Well, actually, I mean, you could have it where multiple are active, but you have to switch between, kind of like in Skyrim, you know, they have, well, actually, you know what, no, that analogy doesn't work, because in Skyrim, the quests don't change the game rules, which is why you're allowed to have more than one, because the fundamental rules are the same. In my game, if you start a mission or a quest, the actual conditions of the game change, which doesn't happen in Skyrim. In Skyrim, it's just sequencing, that's it. But in my game, the what counts as a death state changes. What counts as like adding a time limit in the instance. Like with Skyrim never does that. So that's why, yeah, in Skyrim, you can have multiple quests, but in mine you won't, because each mission is like gonna change the rules so much that having two active at once are going to clash. Like having a collectathon and a time trial both on at the same time is just not going to work. So yeah, but no, we're not going to do that. Yeah, well, okay, this Reddit thread is not helpful. Widget positioning. Well, yeah, because the thing is, like, I feel like you should be able to spawn a widget. I don't know what owning player is. Object reference. Get owner. Guess we'll put that. Oh, it doesn't do anything. That should, oh, there we go. I thought, I don't know, maybe that'll help with the spawning. Because I feel like it should at least spawn somewhere on the screen, right? Oh, wait. I didn't do this. Yeah, see, that should at least go some. I don't know where it, because it should be spawning somewhere. I just don't know where it is spawning. Well, I've kind of done that already, but it's I won't go into that. It's very complicated with how I've done it. So I'm just trying to like put together something quickly here. For me to explain how I did it for the others, it's going to take like half an hour, and I just would rather, like, you'll see. I'm very sure I can get this working. But for the moment, I just want to see if I can spawn this by itself without, because I haven't had to change anything here, and I should be able to spawn it in without having to change stuff. Because yeah, eventually I'll very likely have to rework the base HUD class, but that's going to be a day. I want to do that some other time. I think I can get it working without redoing the HUD class now, just to demonstrate the system. But I'm having some difficulty. Wrap it. Well, yeah, like, but I feel like in Blueprints you should be able to, because I did it once. I can't remember how, but I remember I was messing around one time and I did it. And I was like, oh, cool. And I'm like, now I completely forgotten how. Oh, hey, there we go. See, I told you. Yeah, except it's still not working. But it's spawned. Okay. So you see, we're onto something here. Never doubt Mr. Feline. Yeah, so that's the only issue, of course, is that it hasn't bound properly still, that's bad. But it spawns, and it has a oh, you know what? I think it does work, but I haven't configured the actual stopwatch yet. Starting value 60, decrement. Auto start, load on res. Actually, yeah, no, that should work, I think. Start stopwatch. Oh, wait. Okay, so this does work, but I forgot to add the part where I activate. Oh, no, wait, yeah, no, that is happening. Okay, never mind. Start. Yeah, okay, well that should be activating the stopwatch. And then that should be... yeah, it should be updating the value. Which it isn't. Well, let me check. Update elapsed time event. Set value. Update metric event. Okay. I think... alright. I think I might have an idea. Or I mean, it's... one moment. That's how I did the thing. It should be doing that. Let me actually check if because I'm very sure the stopwatch is working, but I just want to make sure. So I'll do a print string for the stopwatch. Get elapsed time. We'll print that value. I just want to see if it's actually running the stopwatch and the HUD is reading correctly, because it's either the HUD's reading wrong or the HUD's reading right and the stopwatch is reading wrong. So I should be able to... Okay, yeah, the actual stopwatch doesn't... So the HUD is fine, but the stopwatch itself is broken. That's interesting. Huh. Update. Yeah, that should be running continuously. Let me check how I did this for the other missions. I must have implemented this wrong. Game modes. We'll do a race. How did I do it here? Yeah, this is the exact same. On start, update. That's the exact same. On start, update. Well, let me compare them. Okay, so where'd it go? I've lost it now. Ah. Oh yeah, here yeah. So start, play, start, stop. Okay, that is the exact same. So there must be something on start event, on game start, on mission start, on start event. Yeah, wait, that's, I don't understand why that's not running. Huh. So what should happen is... Yeah, that's really weird. Because that's happening. It's doing it on start, it's playing, and that should loop. Well, here's the other solution in mind, is to do it this way. Oh, I forgot what variables are on that. Is there a way I can check if this is on? Get, no, there isn't. I have to real quick make like a boolean just to test it. I feel like it's the timeline that's not working. So what should happen is if we plug that in there, that should work. We'll try it. Oh, alright. That's how it's gonna be. So when stopwatch starts, on, off, event tick. If that's true, update. Yeah. What? It like ticks on for 1 frame and then stops. That's so weird. Well, maybe I have to look at the stopwatch itself. What happens when you on start? Call on start. Oh. Wait. Give me a moment to think. I think with the way that the components themselves work, it may not work with the new system. On start. On start event. Call on start. Yeah, because I've done the dispatches all backwards here, and I don't think it's gonna... Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. But it worked. It worked in the game modes. I'm at a loss. I'm very confused. So I'll try something else. Try this instead. This may not work either, but... Oh, well, something's happening. Okay, well, at least the tick's working, but it's not updating the value. Oh. Call update elapsed time. All right. Yeah, no, I didn't write these very well. The dispatches are all wrong. That's why it's not working. So the mission system's fine. It's just the components that the mission uses weren't meant for this. And I implemented this really wrong. So I'm now facing the consequences of my poor programming here. So I think what I need to do is update elapsed time. Yes, I mean, that should work when I just plug it in there. But it's not. That's infuriating. Let's go back. Let's just undo all this, because none of this works. Because that's the way that the game mode worked. It just did it this way. So I'm very confused. So if I go to game mode time trial, yeah, it'll just do the thing. Oh, that's... Because yeah, so the HUD is fine, but the actual, like, getting the stopwatch value to set is not working. Unless I do it manually. I'm desperate enough now, I'm gonna try it. So when the update happens, it's just gonna do this. This is like the most strangest way to do it, but it's what I gotta do. So I'll just plus increment float. Yeah, I hate this, but it'll at least prove that this works. It's not gonna work well, but it should work. Oh, it still doesn't? Are you serious right now? It's still not working? Bruh. Why is the timeline not doing anything? That should work, right? Like if I do this... Yeah, like the timeline loops. So that's work. Like the actual time, like this does loop. But for whatever reason, it's like, yeah, you know, we're gonna not increment this, this float. Oh, wait. Oh, my bad. I was doing something silly there. Okay, now it should work. Yeah. Oh, you're gonna be kidding me. Okay. If I do it this way, it won't update the HUD, so I have to, like, call update elapsed time. So either this, which may work. Okay, yeah, there we go. Except it's except it's frame rate dependent. But just pretend that it's not for a second. And you can sort of see, like, you see what I'm trying to do? Like, okay. Real quick though, because when the mission ends, we should reset the stopwatch. Set, or I think it's called update. No. Value. Let me set value. So it needs to reset this back to 0 when the mission ends. Okay, so this is like such a massive band-aid. I will, like, eventually I'll get this working the right way, but oh, actually, yeah, you know, I'll fix this real quick. So it doesn't work the way that it's supposed to work in its full capacity, but now it should count up properly. So if I touch that, oh, you're kidding! It was working a second ago. Come on, give me a break. Yeah, okay, you know what I have to do? Set elapsed I can't do increment float because that won't work. I have to do that, and then it has to be that plus 1. Yeah, no, actually, yeah, no, wait. I think it's just that plus that. I think that's it. Thank you, Thomas Hughes. I recognize your name. Thanks so much for subscribing with Prime. Appreciate it, dude. But now... Oh, you're kidding! It was working. I had it working, guys. You saw. George is getting upset. Okay, now. Oh my god. Okay, I think I do have to do this. So 1 times get world delta seconds. Oh my freaking god! If this doesn't work, I'm gonna delete the whole game. Oh, okay, screw it. All right, it's frame rate dependent, okay? That's the best I could do for now. Just pretend that it's not frame rate dependent for a second. Use your imagination. Pretend that I've done the weeks of work it's gonna take to get this working. But you see how the number goes up? You see how the stopwatch is working? Now watch this. Boom. Now the stopwatch is gone because the mission's over. But I can start the mission again. You see how it starts from 0? Now there's like there's a time going on, and then I can go back, and yeah, it works, okay. Except I'm very curious if I can get it to work backwards. No, screw it. That's gonna be impossible. But yeah, basically, it works. It just works. It just works. So yeah, so what I was trying to demonstrate earlier, I'll turn the volumes back on so you guys can see what's happening. So pretend for a second in the left box, there's an NPC. Let's say we go up to him. Well, not that close. Let's say we go up to him, and let's say there's a bit of dialogue that comes up maybe, and we press a button on the HUD that says, you know, accept mission. And let's say that accept mission button triggers the mission, turns it on like this, and then we have a timer on the screen. Now, let's say the time, like it's a mission where you have to get to the objective and it'll track how long you spend doing that. So let's say I then walk and get to the goal object, and then boom, I can then trigger a mission complete screen, all of that stuff, whatever. But you notice how now the mission's over? You notice how now there's no time, there's no stopwatch anymore, and it's like I'm in the open world and it's just fine. But then if I activate the mission, boom, now I'm in a mission. And now I'm not in a mission. So I know it's very primitive, but it's this is the backbone on which the rest of the game is gonna function with. So we've done something very primitive here, but if you use your imagination, you can start to see the implications of how this could be used in a broader context. So there you go. It's coming along. But yeah. Oh, thanks, Thomas Hughes. I appreciate that, man. Well, the devlogs love you too. But yeah, so you can sort of see, trying to, like, I know it's like, I'm gonna get that working. I know everyone in the chat's probably like, oh, it's you know, it's not like the exact, like the timer doesn't work, it's frame rate dependent, the HUD's not spawning, like I get it, that'll come later, but MVP, minimum viable system here, it just works. But it'll work better as time goes on. So anyway, I think that's where I'm gonna end it, because that's kind of like, yeah, that's like, we'll do more of it next week. In the meantime, yeah, let me just make sure all of that's saved, by the way. Yeah, I know, it's the curse, where it's like, I don't know what it is. Unreal has a specific gripe. Like, Unreal doesn't like me when it comes to doing things that are frame rate dependent. Oh, who's this? NQ. Thanks so much. Oh, dude, you donated $10 dues. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate that. Well, yeah, I can afford a. How many 6-packs of Megarang could I afford with that? How much are? I think they're like $4 to $5 each. So I could afford maybe like 2 or 3 packs of Megarang, which is my diet exclusively. So that's lunch for 4 days. Thank you, though. I appreciate that so much. I will treat myself. I can't go out, and I can't go out to a physical store and buy cake, sadly, but I will do the closest I can to that. I'm just making sure this is all saved, because imagine like doing all this and then it's like Unreal crashes. It just crashes. It has that error message saying, would you like to report a bug? And it's like, no, but I'd like my work back, thanks. So yeah, I'm just making sure this is all saved. That'd be a way to end it, wouldn't it? But yeah. Anyway, you can sort of see if you're thinking what I'm thinking here, you might be able to see the broader what this all means in the big picture of me building. I know the system is like, you know, in its infancy, but it's gonna allow me to do bigger and better things. So I'm gonna save this notepad document because we've got some. Well, I won't tick that yet because we haven't quite got it, but we've made a start on getting like mission specific parameters to be able to activate and deactivate in the persistent world, which is great. So let me just save this. Put this in documentation notes underscore. What date? What's the date? Well, we'll just call this mission system notes. And bing bong. So, thanks so much for coming, guys. I appreciate it. I know I was a bit quiet this time. I was kind of just thinking to myself and talking to myself the whole time. I know I'm not big epic streamer that's gonna go write your name on the whiteboard all the time, but we're here to do work. I got some work done. I'm very happy, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching me get work done. So it is all saved now. Control S I'm now closing the editor. The editor has now closed with no crashes. So we are good. Everything's fine. No worries. Hakuna Matata. Sorry, I'm just like scrolling through the amount of chat messages I've missed, and I feel really bad. I'm so sorry. Oh, so many new people said hi this time. I'm so sorry, all the new first-time chatters. Oh, sorry, I was just like in the zone today. See, this is why I don't have friends, because I'm very terrible at interacting with people. I'm just kind of in my own head all the time. But I'll make up for it. We'll do some kind of just chatting stream maybe in the future. We'll make it up. Then I'll focus only on chat and get no work done. How about that? Does that sound good? Awesome. Anyway, that'll be all for me for now. If you need something to do, because I know all you guys are bored right now that I'm hopping off, and if you are bored, then you're going to go to youtube.com and you're going to watch my devlog series all the way back to episode 1, and you're going to binge it today, because what else are you going to do? Of course you're going to do that. So go, if some of you haven't seen my devlog series, I don't know what you're doing, so go check that out. I think I showed at the beginning of the stream, I am working on episode 33. It is almost done. There's just a few touch-ups, and I need to do the opening. I need B-roll for the opening, and that'll be ready when it's ready. If you do want to see it 24 hours earlier than everyone else, though, you can join the Patreon tier I have linked in the cards down below and get 24-hour early access. And I believe, if I recall correctly, people who get early access also get a exclusive little present from me. I'm just trying to remember what it was, because I have a few presents on my Patreon now. I have the I forgot, because I've lost track of what they all are, because I haven't checked it in a while. But, because I've got the, where is it? Yeah, so I think the early access, you get a sticker, which has like the Gabby print on it. And this print is exclusively for patrons. Only patrons get that print. And I spent a lot of time designing that, and I was really proud of it. So if you want a sticker like that, I think someone just got theirs recently, actually. And it's actually a lot bigger than I thought. It's like that big or something. So if you want like a sick sticker, then check the early access tier and you'll get access to my video. And if you want other stuff, I have more. I also have like shirts and hoodies if you want to spend more money. Not mandatory at all. I just thought I'd mention it in case anyone's interested. But anyway, that will be all for now. Oh yeah, actually, I apologize. I don't know if I did a clear enough job at explaining the fact that I brought my Patreon back. It's been a bit of a wild ride because last year, when I was not really uploading videos, I felt guilty for keeping it up because I was still working, but I wasn't making videos. And the whole point of the Patreon was to like fund videos. And it was like recurring monthly payments for recurring monthly videos. But doing monthly videos and making a game is really difficult. And there's a lot of reasons. I think I talked about it in devlog 30. I think it was devlog 30. I talked about why that's so hard. Because it might seem easy, but psychologically, just for my own health and just for the project, it's just hard to explicitly say that every month we're going to have something to show. Because you don't know. Game development's so random. And that stress was just too much. So I took time last year to just not do YouTube and work on the game. And I think I made like 2 videos last year. But I think it was worth it because the game is in a much better place now. And I'm glad I proved to myself that I didn't need to upload videos to feel validated. I could just sit in my little cave and do it. And it wasn't like a vanity project or something. Because, you know, that stuff like that gets into your head when you start getting a following. So I'm glad I did that. It was like a detox, you know? But I felt guilty about having the Patreon open, so I closed it. But then everyone was actually kind of upset. I didn't actually think people would care, because I thought it was the reasonable thing to do. Because it's like, if I'm not making videos, like, why have the Patreon up, right? So I closed it because I felt bad. But then I got like a lot of really angry comments, actually. Like, I don't check comments a lot, but the one time I did check it, I saw this guy had like a full paragraph saying that it's insulting for me to close my Patreon or something like that. And I was just like, wow, I didn't think people cared that much, but okay. So I listened to what he said and thought about it. And I think, well, now I feel a bit better about having it open now because I've changed what the Patreon's for. It's not for the videos necessarily now. It's just for me. It's like if you want to support not the videos I make, not the output I create, but if you want to support me as a person, as I commit myself to this work, I think that's what it was about. Because I'm not a guy who supports people on Patreon. Like, there's a few small creators I'll like, but I'm not in the position to support people like that. So I don't really understand what the mindset of a Patreon supporter is. And it was my assumption that if I had it up without making videos, then people would get angry. But it was the opposite. So I guess I have a lot to learn still. But I think it was, what I learned was, at least from the people who were still on it, that it was not about the output of videos. It was just like they were really nice and wanted to support me, which is great. So I think I've come to terms with that now, because as a creator, it feels so weird having to ask for money, but it is, I do need it. So, you know, that's the kind of thing I had to figure out there. But now I feel more comfortable because the tiers have merch, and I feel comfortable doing that because it's like, you support me, but I also get to give you something back. Like, that's, for me, I have to give you something back. Otherwise, I feel bad. So you don't get videos every month because it's hard to do, but at least you get like a sticker that only patrons can get, or a shirt. And I honestly want to get myself one because I can order samples as the creator, and I forgot to do that. But I really want to actually wear them because like I always like making stuff that I would like wearing. So yeah, so I feel better about having it up like that now. And and with the Discord server access too, because that's something that does take time to moderate and to upkeep. So you're kind of helping me keep my Discord open, and you're also like helping me work. And yeah, it's just, that's kind of the point of it now. Can you get a new mug? Well, how do you lose a coffee mug? Where are you taking that mug? What, are you leaving the house? Bro, that's cringe. No one leaves the house nowadays. Well, the old mugs that from the public ones, those, no, you can't get those again. Those were limited. But if you want to get the Patreon one, that's like the only mug you can get from me now is the Patreon one. But in the future, because I do have more merch drops planned, those will come. But I want to do more work on the game before I do the next drop. But yeah. How do you lose a mug though? I'm trying to understand. Like, I keep my mug in the cabinet at all times unless I'm using it. And it goes in the cabinet, it goes in the dishwasher, and it goes on my desk, and it never leaves those two places. So I'm very curious what the story is there, Mr. Rave. Like, how does that happen exactly? I don't know. I guess some people travel with their mugs maybe, which is cool. If you went out in public with my mug, that's awesome. That's epic. But anyway, so that's the Patreon story. I don't know if I did a good enough job of making clear that it exists again, but it does. It's back, and it's got more people than ever before now, which is really cool. So thank you for all the guys who are on that Patreon. So yeah, if you want to see the new episode 24 hours early, there's the place to go. And you'll also get, I think, a shout out too, depending on what tier. And I do actually have to change the template now because there's too many names. I can't fit them all. But yeah, I appreciate that a lot. Anyway, yeah, I've talked enough about my Patreon. You should just go look at it, probably. I can describe it to you, or you can go check it out. But anyway, that'll be it for me for now. Thanks everyone for coming. Thanks to the new subs. Thanks MindQ for being so generous. And hope to see you guys soon next week, doing more work on the mission system. So yeah, remember, show up next week, Saturday, baby. That's when it's happening. Well, it's Saturday for me. I don't know if it's Saturday for you guys, but you know what it is. Same time, same channel. Anyway, thanks for coming. I'll catch you guys in the next stream or the next video, whichever comes first. Bye-bye. Where's the button I pressed to turn this off? New keyboard. I have to find the damn hotkeys. Is it F8 or F9? Because one of them is going to do something horrible and the other is going to play the outro. And I can't remember which one it is now. I think it's F8. I'm going to try F8. We'll see what happens. But see you guys later.